Join me today on Walk with History, all about the home of FDR in Hyde Park, New York. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. His mother's maiden name is Delano, so that's where he gets that from. They make their money in the sugar industry, rum, merchants, trade, basically China, anything you can really trade. They make their money early on. They provide a lot of the sugar rations during the war. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt will be born here July 30th, 1882, upstairs in that blue room. And it's a hard birth. He's a big baby to Sarah and James. Now, James originally bought this place in about the 1830s. Again, he's born here in Hyde Park, but his house burns down. And so he buys Springwood, and that's why his son is born at Springwood. Now, when James dies in 1900, Franklin is about 18 years old and should inherit the house, but he actually gives it to his wife, Sarah, Franklin's mother, and so she will forever own Springwood until her death in 1941. FDR only really owns it for 4 years before he passes in 1945, but it's always understood that he's going to give the house away to the National Park Service for preservation of their family's story. Now, as you know, FDR will be our 32nd president from 1933 to 1945. And he will visit Hyde Park here about 250 times during his presidency. He's going to entertain guests here, including the King and Queen of England, Winston Churchill, and when he becomes president, 3 of those 4 times, he gives his victory speech right here on the front porch. So let's go inside and see the house. We'll see the rooms. No, all the decorations are Sarah's, his mother's, because it was her home that whole time, but she is proud of her son. So there's a lot of things that represent his Navy interests, because he was Assistant Secretary of the Navy, and of course his interests in other fields, including becoming president. So you can see the living room where their Christmas tree was as well, and the ramp that goes into the living room. You can see their bedrooms upstairs. Eleanor will be in the middle. She will not move there until after he contracts polio and needs more space. But as you know, this house is not really fitted for the wheelchair. There are ramps made, and there is a lift made for him to get to the 2nd story. Even though elevators do exist, he doesn't want an elevator and to be stuck in one if there is ever a fire. But let's go see some of the artifacts. Let's go visit his grave and pay our respects, and go inside the house and see the home of the 32nd President of the United States. So here I'm walking up to the porch at FDR's home, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's home, the front porch. I'm standing on his front porch. Now, 3 of the 4 times the president is elected here, he will give his victory speech from this front porch. So I'm standing where he would have given his victory speech from. So super cool to stand here and do that. He had this portico put on in 1915 to look presidential, right? Dress for the job you want, build your house for the job you want. He wanted to influence people in that regard. So that's what it looks like over here. So it's super cool. The car right here, the car that FDR had fitted out, a 1936 Ford, and fitted out with the hand controls so he could drive this car with his hands. I'm right beside it. How neat is that? So the gentleman's agreement with the press was that he would not be photographed with the wheelchair. He did not want to project to the world as a weak world leader. And so they would wait till he would be in the car, doors shut, before they would take their photographs. And like I said, of all the photographs taken of FDR, only 2 depict him in the wheelchair. They were taken here at Hyde Park. They're family photographs. But he had the braces fitted on him, and super cool to see the car that FDR drove. So this is his desk while he's in the Oval Office. throughout the 12 years he served. This is his desk. He signs the GI Bill into law, which I used. He has the elephants and the donkeys. It says Governor Franklin Roosevelt, Christmas, on the little pen stand there. And the 4 photographs are his 4 sons, James, Elliot, Franklin Jr., and John. All served in the American military during World War II. He had that framed picture on his desk of his 4 sons, 2 in the Navy, 1 Army, 1 Marine. So Franklin will marry Eleanor in 1905, St. Patrick's Day in actually New York City. They work it around Teddy Roosevelt's schedule so he can be there, and he's part of the St. Patrick's Day parade in New York, and he will walk his niece down the aisle. And then he is present for the wedding. They're thankful that he is there to celebrate with them. But Eleanor Roosevelt, they will honeymoon and then come back here. They will give birth to 6 children, the oldest being a daughter. 5 of them will make it to adulthood. 1 child will die in infancy, but the children all celebrate their holidays here and visit here. And this is just the family home of the Roosevelts. This is the uniform worn by Eleanor Roosevelt. She wore their seersucker uniform during her 25,000-mile tour of the South Pacific. Representative of both the Red Cross and the First Lady. So when the president contracts polio, he is 39 years old. He's vacationing with his family and he has a great day. He's swimming with his family and he runs home, 2-mile run, and then he starts to feel sick, like his legs start to be weak. And then even his second day, it is where he starts to lose all feeling in his legs. And this is 1921. This is before he's even governor of New York. And after they figure out that this is polio and he's never going to regain the use of his legs, his mother wants him to get out of public life. His mother says, I think it's best if you just bow away from public life. And it's Eleanor himself, his good friend, who says, no, you can still do this. And this is when he gets fitted with the leg braces. He's going to walk this road behind me every day to learn how to do that with the leg braces and the crutches. And he's going to make a bid for president. Now, like I said, there's not a lot of photographs that do exist of him in the wheelchair, but you see pictures of him with the leg braces, the canes, leaning on his sons, leaning on Eleanor. Eleanor at this time really throws herself into her political side of the campaign. She's going to do a lot of things for women. We talk a lot about her with the 6888, the Tuskegee Airmen. So she's very instrumental in bringing these other people to life when it comes to who can help in the war effort during World War II. So how did FDR get from downstairs to upstairs? He did not have an elevator put in. He had this lift, which he would sit in and he would pull. One rope goes up, one rope goes down. It's offset with weights, of course, but he would pull himself up. And it was because in case of a fire, he didn't want to be stuck in an elevator. And this is how he would get onto the 2nd floor. And then there would be a ramp to go up the steps to his bedroom, which is down that hall. And you want to know the first thing that the president sees when he comes up the lift? The Battle of Lake Erie. Oliver Hazard Perry. Don't give up the ship. How cool is that? It's right across from the lift. Assistant Secretary of the Navy, he knows where it's at. So a short walk from the house is his presidential library, and this is the nation's first presidential library specifically built for that purpose. He envisioned the library as a place where the public could examine the evidence of his presidency. The building opened June 30th, 1941, so you can imagine he used it during his presidency. Now, Franklin will die in Georgia in April of 1945. He is sitting for a portrait, and he just says, "I have a terrible headache," and then slumps over, and he will pass away April 15th, 1945. And then he is buried here. There's a famous picture of Winston Churchill visiting here on the year anniversary of his death. He's buried beside his wife. His dog Fala is buried here, and his dog Chief is buried here as well. Blown away by a man who would not let paralysis allow him to back down. He wasn't even president, right? And he's our only 4-term president. Like, he wasn't going to quit. Nothing could stop him. On to my next Walk with History.